we've been talking about your indicator for what, like 3 or 4 months now? How long have you had it implemented?
I think it's about 3 or 4 months. Originally, this indicator SIP was we called it the confirming retracement indicator, for lack of a better name, because it confirmed for us it was originally designed for looking at the broad market. We've been updating it and revising it. So if you haven't gotten the most updated version of that indicator, you can go ahead and get free access to our web portal. It's available to anybody who gets free access to our web portal. You can go in there and download the latest version. But it's kind of morphed into more than just a confirming indicator for the broad market. A lot of folks now use it as their end of day indicator for trading premium.
And so, why does it work? What's the basis of it? That's kind of, I
Mhm.
think, I mean, maybe you don't want to give away all the secrets behind it, but with your 20 years of experience, is this kind of the cumulation of all those things that you've seen work in the past, kind of coming together in a simplified way to help you answer reversals, right? Because think that's kind of the basic logic of it.
Yeah. I mean, we've got some indicators in development that will probably offer not for free that incorporate a little bit more, but this has the basis in it of the whole thought behind leading followed by lagging indicators, right? So if you've been a technician at all, you know that a lot of time leading indicators are misleading. I like to call them almost misleading indicators because they're built on the idea of being overbought and oversold. And the main flaw in that concept is that things can remain overbought and oversold for a long amount of time. So you don't really want to use a leading indicator as a signal to do trading. People who do find themselves often white knuckling their chair for many days, if not weeks or months, because being overbought or oversold isn't the end all to be all. However, taking something that's overbought and oversold and then seeing a lagging indicator kick in, a confirming indicator, that usually is a very viable signal that's been tested time in and time out. And that's the basis of this indicator. It's a confirming indicator. And we've got a couple of different very popular variations in it. You can see I've got my confirming indicator 3 times on this chart with 3 different configurations. Like if I pull up just a generic stock here, we've been looking at Zoom in the past. Depending on what fits. So right now we've got our indicator configured for determining bottoms and tops in the broad market. Um, the big idea, though, is that you don't, you might use a different setting of this indicator for an individual symbol. You want to kind of match that. So, for instance, I'm going to turn off the indicator that we use for identifying tops and bottoms in the broad market. And instead, I'm going to turn on the indicator that probably works best with Zoom. And so, you've got your choices of lagging indicators. You could use a moving average crossing or a MACD. And then what's unique about my free indicator here is you can choose how price is calculated or how the indicator is calculated on which price. You don't have to use the closing price, which is what traditionally is used. So you can choose. And I like using, for instance, volume weighted average price, or I like using this for historical volatility, the high low close divided by 3. And this gives you that flexibility to do that. And then you can definitely program in any sort of, you know, parameters for any confirming indicator and then go with it. So for instance, on Zoom, we got an indication last night that we had a reversal, not last night, I'm sorry, on the night of December 28th. And on December 29th, we got our follow through in order to get into that trade. And so people who followed me into that trade, and I'm wondering, we talked about Zoom. maybe some people can type into the chat whether they've either paper traded or real money traded Zoom based on our recommendations. We recommended shorting it or even buying a back month deep in the money put a couple weeks ago, and that came up just this past week. And so, yeah, I'm wondering how many people jumped in on that following our indicator and following our recommendation.